back to Beyond the Game with Hal, where we explore the incredible stories of athletes and dive into their journeys, challenges, and triumphs. I'm Hal, your 14-year-old host with a passion for sports and a love for uncovering what makes athletes tick. Today, I'm thrilled to welcome JT Daniels, a standout quarterback with a remarkable career that has taken him through some of the most prestigious college football programs. JT's journey is marked by resilience, determination, and offers a deep dive into the highs and lows of what it means to be a top quarterback. Join us as shares his experience on and off the field, providing values, insights, and his path to success about all the lessons he has learned along the way from playing college sports. Get ready for an inspiring story that goes well beyond the game with JT Daniels.
Start off, you came from high school playing at a top high school in America for football. You came with your top wide receiver, Amon Ross St. Brown, to Southern California. What was that having that bond with him through your first year in college and coming with him, someone who you've already had experience with from high school to college?
Yeah, that's always huge, especially when it's a guy like that who is now the highest paid guy in the league at that position, right? You really can't ask for to have like a better guy to do it with. And I mean, Amon and I started playing together in like seventh grade. Um, so I did every 7-on-7 circuit. He was my number one guy all throughout high school. He was my number one guy. When we were both true freshmen, he was my number one guy. And there's just certain things that Amon does that are just instinctual and things that I don't really know if you can train that Amon just has such a good grip of. Like there's a lot of receivers, a lot of really good receivers. Um, but with Amon specifically, there are things he does that like just have a certain feel for the game that like you can't really compare to other guys. And when you have a guy that has that kind of a feel that just always knows where to be and always catches everything, there's like the third down factor that you have from that, the red zone factor that you have from that it's just something that you don't often get, and it's a huge boost if you have that.
Yeah, and what you said, you don't get like that boost. It also is good to have like a backup plan, but like not necessarily a backup plan that like if in doubt, I can trust him to be here.
Yeah, no doubt. He's down there somewhere. Yeah, having that guy, it's they help you a lot. Like the hardest part of playing quarterback is you cannot see anything. You cannot, like, I'm 6'1", like decently sized. Every left tackle I played with was about 6'7" with a helmet on, is about 6'9", 6'10". You can't see anything, so you have to have guys that you trust, um, that they're going to be exactly where we tell them they're going to be, and Amon just has that. He does it over and over and over again.
Yeah, and you came with him your senior year actually of high school. You played as a true freshman at USC in the Pac-12, top conferences in college football. What do you think that extra year kind of or enrolling early meant to you and helped you develop?
In terms of help, I'm not sure it did a ton. Um, I wouldn't take back any part of the experience, but it definitely was a huge jump going from your third year of high school football to playing like what would have been my senior year. I was playing in the Pac-12. I think the first thing I learned is that it's different when you get to the next level. Like you get used to playing against kids, or yeah, literally at that time it's kids your age, for 3 years. Everyone's between the age of 14 and 18 at the top end, and then there's 23-year-old men um, that you're lining up against week in and week out that are all Power Five recruit football players. Um, you learn that it moves a lot faster right out the bat, and you have to do an exponentially greater amount of preparation to really like be able to operate week in and week out.
Yeah, and another thing you said with preparing and being an extra step, you can't really just rely on your athletic ability at that point. It's more mental too than just going out there and playing. What do you think the mental side of the game, especially with you with dealing with a lot of injuries, how do you think the mental side of the game impacted you and how did you prepare for that side of the game?
Like the mental side was pretty much about all I had, in terms of like a real advantage that I could take away. Fortunately, football has a position where that's kind of a dying breed. But football has a position where if you can separate mentally, then you can be effective even if you're not physically at the upper echelon, which unfortunately I just never really was. I threw it far enough. I really didn't run well enough, but I was able to pick up and process information on the mental side. So for me, it was like that was my strength, that was my backbone. Now there's definitely a learning curve going from high school to college. Um, but for me as a like my strength as a player, that was what I had to sort of rely on.
Another thing with that is the mental side. You could beat someone out with that. You had competition every place you went. And what does competition mean to you? And how do you think that's going to help you post college?
Um, well, like when you play on a team, and I always was a little different on the like ideology of competition than I think um, maybe most tend to look at it. I never uh, personally really looked at competition as competition. Like what my philosophy on playing for a team is like once you sign up for that team, all that matters is the best success of that team. So competition for me was never like a really difficult, stressful time. I did the best I could to be in the best position to help the team win. Um, and wherever that led me, that led me. I think that actually benefited me in competition, and that I never felt like a certain pressure to where I have to be the guy right now or I have to be ready right now. Not having that added pressure, I think, allowed me to win the competitions I was in. But I think that that mindset in general has kind of always been with me and always will be with me. Like if I'm on the team, everything I'm doing is to help that team win. That's the most fulfilling and satisfying experience of a team.
Yeah, and you competed with many guys who are now in the league and did many great things. What are your bonds like with those guys to you say be as a team and not get carried away with competing with one guy for a job?
Yeah, really good. It's been like that with every single quarterback room I've been in. I don't know, but I very rarely hear about like actual quarterback strife on teams. I think in general, quarterbacks understand it's the prime position and only one guy plays. And I've never seen anybody really take it personally when things don't go the way that someone wants. And I definitely never did when I got hurt and someone else came in any of those situations. I have great relationships with everyone I play with. Me and Stat are tight, and me and Keaton are good. Um, who else? Garrett Green, big Garrett Green fan this year. Me and him are tight. And even guys that like you haven't heard of that haven't played just yet. I've never once had a bad relationship in a quarterback room.
Yeah, and you being recently an older guy at some of the colleges, what does it mean to you to mentor like some of the younger guys on the team? But also, what did it mean to you for some guys when you were the younger guy in the team to be mentored by them?
Um, Man, it kind of depends on where I was. I was never at a place with a returning starter. So when I got to USC, I competed with um, Matt Fink and Jack Sears. I had at at Georgia for a time it was Jamie Newman, but then it was like with Stetson and Dewan. There was never like a returning starter that I was that I went into a situation with. So there was probably less like mentoring on that side. But I did have guys that like we worked together to figure things out. Like me and Stetson were a great example. We worked super well together, um, and I think really like helped each other get a lot better for the few years that I was there. And yeah, like as I got older and I had a lot of starts and a lot of experience. I got into coaching because I enjoy that part of it so much. That was like one of the most probably one of the most fun and fulfilling aspects of playing the game was helping out the younger guys or the other guys, and then like seeing that come to fruition. That's one of the most fun experiences that I had as a player.
Yeah, I could totally relate to that in the sports that I play. In baseball, I talk to my teammates. I see that they're doing something wrong with like their mechanics, and they fix it, go up there, get a hit next time. I probably feel just as happy for them
Yeah, that is.
as they feel for them, and you probably felt the same way.
Yep, that is exactly how it is, and that's why you end up in the coaching profession because it was that was super fun for me. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed every place I was at and every year that I played. And that ended up just for whatever reason, like if someone calls me a mean name, I get concussed. That just happened to be how I was. I got hurt a lot, and then there were a lot of situations that I was in where I was a pseudo coach. It's like when you're a guy that's played a lot of games who is hurt, like you are asked to be a good teammate and help the next guy. And that's when I got like, pseudo coaching experience and told me that this is absolutely a profession that I would want to go down.
Because when you're hurt, I mean, you don't want to just sit there and be like, I'm hurt, the season's over, I can't do anything. You want to stand up on the sideline, and every time the guy who's playing makes a mistake, you want to be the first one to tell him, hey, you did this wrong. And that's also another thing with you have to have people who take the back seat role and don't necessarily give up and is a team player in order to get over that hump and win.
Yeah, that was probably one of like the best things I will say about our 21 national championship team at Georgia is that was not at all exclusive to the quarterback position. That was every position group. And I think something that made that team so successful was like there was that aspect that you're talking about and that I'm talking about across the entire team. Like George Pickens tore his ACL in spring. He was a phenomenal guy for the whole receiver room. We had D backs go down, D linemen go down, um, O linemen go down, and at every single position group, every guy was committed in that same exact way.
And then you also mentioned something about concussions and being hurt. Obviously, injuries railed your career, was not the best, not friendly with you. You had to go through tons of highs and lows. How did you deal with those lows?
That it was never like really difficult for me. I like I'd always it's not like rehab is the most fun thing, and I've done a whole lot of rehab in my time as an athlete. So I wouldn't say it's like the most fun to be rehabbing all the time. But like I played on great teams. I had great teammates. I made a lot of friends. I got to like thoroughly. I think that helps why I have had such a great experience when it might not look that way externally because I really loved like doing that pseudo coaching role and being that kind of guy for the other QBs and other guys on the team. So like it wasn't the most fun always being hurt, but like I had great experiences through all of it.
Yeah, and you got to play with so many guys that you probably learned from, such as, I mean, your first year you played with Michael Pittman, and then you just played with Luke McCaffrey this
Yeah.
past year. So, I mean, you definitely have learned a lot from those players that you've played with. So, um, that must have helped you a ton.
Yeah, no doubt. Now growing up with Almon, like you always kind of knew he was going to be that guy. It was like never even a question. But in terms of like the receiver rooms in general, throughout my playing days, had Pitt, Drake London, Tyler Vaughns, Almon, George Pickens, Jermaine Burton.
Brock Bowers, there's so many people.
There's an absolute list. Yeah, that I got to play with. That was that was always very fun for me.
Yeah, and it sounds like for you that like it didn't really matter if you were starting or if you were playing. It really sounds that to me that you made the best of your opportunities no matter what came for you, and that you always got that you exploited your next opportunity to do something and wanted to win as a team.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I really, I don't say it just to say that. Like when you sign up for a team, it's you commit to that team for that year, and that's like the whole point of the team sport. That's what makes team sport so fun. Is like the team succeeding. It's not as fun to like play really well and lose the game. I'd much rather watch a win from the sideline and like be actively contributing and helping in a different way than just playing and playing great and losing the game. That's just always been my experience with team sports.
And I know how it feels to lose a game while playing and then win a game while out. It feels so much better to win a game when you're not even on the field than losing a
Yeah,
game.
yeah, it's a common saying. It's a lot easier to learn from the wins and the losses.
And then another thing, what did what did uh what did you were a captain at Rice this year? What does leadership mean to you? You obviously said you love talking with people and working with people. But what do you think that role of leadership means to a team?
What does it like having good leadership mean to a
Having good
team?
leadership to you and being a leader mean to you?
Be mean to me or in terms of the team?
Both.
Okay. In terms of a team, player leadership is arguably one of the most important characteristics and one of what has been shown to be one of the uh, standards of what makes a team elite. Coach Smart talked about that all the time. Anybody in sports psychology will tell you the same thing, that players, when led by other players or their peers, will respond better than they will to authority in general. I don't think any coach would argue with that. It's like having player leadership on a team is very it's very hard to argue against that as the most beneficial or one of the most beneficial aspects to helping a team win. For myself personally, I think leadership in general is it's a very vague, all-encompassing topic, and it's going to look different person to person. For me, I do much better interpersonally. So most of my leadership came with working with guys one on one in whatever capacity that I could support.
Yeah, and it's always good to have like you saying you were that one person that like someone could rely on and come talk to if they needed some help. That's always good to have like that one buddy who knows what he's doing and can help you without even talking to the coaches, because the coaches you might not want to talk to them if you did something, but it's always nice to have that player to go to.
Absolutely. That's why it's a big reason on why player leadership matters so much.
Yeah, another thing was when you were on the field, a lot of times people calling your names, playing in huge atmospheres. What is it like playing in sold out crowds and night games,
It's
rivalries?
funny. You don't really notice it until you notice it in between quarters. You notice it by far the most. Like when you're at home and like your team's on defense and it's a third down, you're like, oh, like this is pretty cool. Outside of that, like you're playing. It doesn't normally hit you. You barely even hear it. Outside of like an away game on third down, like you hear the other team. But yeah, it's such a cool thing to like when you see it on film and on TV, and it's a really cool thing to be a part of. And like you experience it pregame, you experience it postgame, but like during the game itself, you really don't notice it that much, as much as you would think you would.
So you don't like prepare any differently from that game or any other game.
No, I mean, some weeks you got to go on silent count, or I mean, that's kind of why teams like throughout time have gone to the clap for cadence because a clap pierces sound a lot better than like verbals. Um, that's about all you can account for. Like I will say that like third downs with really loud crowds, when you have to like yell into your O lineman and they can't hear you and you're standing in their ear, it's definitely a lot tougher than when you're at home. But there's not much that you would have to do different week to week. Like you put in silent cadence, early.
Another thing is you played with four different coaches, maybe ran the same schemes. I mean, a lot of them had recruited you or had relationships you with before you played for them. But you going into coaching now, what do you think taking in from all those schemes and all those coaches will help you as a coach?
Oh, it absolutely helps a ton schematically, for sure. Because I played a really different system everywhere, with the exception of I played for Graham Harrell twice, so that was an air raid. But the first time I played for my first half of my second season at USC, and I tore my ACL. So I really only played for Graham once in that sense. But I played in a true air raid, more pistol RPO, traditional pro style in Georgia, and super traditional pro style last year at Rice. Having the background knowledge of all these other things adds a ton to your understanding of the game and philosophy and like actual ball theory.
Yeah, and where are you actually coaching this year?
I'm at the University of West Georgia. I'm working with the QBs here.
You're a QB coach?
Yeah, yeah.
That's cool. Always cool to talk to guys who are younger than you, looking to be just like what you were.
Yeah, no doubt.
How's that going for you so far?
I love it. I absolutely love it. This is, I mean, I've already talked about it, but it was like that was one of my favorite parts of playing. Is it just I happened to be put in situations where the best thing I could do was, be a half player, half coach, and I love doing it. And so far in the profession, I've loved it the same.
I mean, you'd rather be a coach and do something you love around the game that you love instead of sitting in an office all day.
Yeah, now I'll tell you that like most of coaching is sitting in an office all day. like
But then you get to go on the field and put
yeah,
all
I
that
mean
hard
yeah,
work.
it's yeah, I like that part's fun too. But yeah, I mean like you get into the profession because like you love talking about it and you can do it all day.
Right. I mean, you want to do what you love for your life.
Yeah.
All right, to end it off here, final 14 in a rapid fire pace. Doing it with everybody. Let's get this.
All right.
All right, who was your idol growing up?
Shit. I Tom Brady came to mind, but I'm not. We'll go with Tom Brady.
Favorite fast food place?
In and out.
Biggest fear?
Used to be spiders. Now I don't know.
Favorite school subject?
Math.
Favorite hobby?
Chess.
Favorite YouTuber?
YouTuber. Oh shit. Um, I'm gonna have to pass. I was trying to think of one.
If you let me know if it comes back.
All right.
Favorite gym workout?
RDL.
Favorite musician?
Tyler Childers.
Favorite animal?
Dog.
Favorite TV show?
Game of Thrones.
Biggest pet peeve?
Loud chewing.
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
No.
What's your favorite emoji?
Oof. God, I have no idea. Pass.
And then last but not least, are you a shower singer?
No.